We'll take a look at what factoring, and remember when you talk about factoring, factored form, what do you usually see? Two parentheses. So your answer looks like two parentheses. So factoring and solving quadratics. What a solving looks like, it's actually when you solve the two parentheses, when you set them equal to 0, what do you get as your solution? So I'm actually going to do one just so I can show you the difference between factoring and solving. So factored form is you have the two parentheses. Solving is you set it equal to 0 and then solve it. So what does a 0 property looks like? Something times something is equal to 0. The math says that if you multiply something by 0, you're going to be 0. So that means one of these two things is equal to 0. So we'll set the first one equal to 0, and I'll do this work over here on the side. So we're going to say x plus 2 is equal to 0. How do you solve for x? Well, you subtract 2 from both sides, and you're going to get x is equal to negative 2. So in order for this x plus 2 parentheses to be equal to 0, then you must have negative 2 here, which makes sense. Negative 2 plus 2 is what? 0. So when you have 0 times anything, you're going to get 0. So one of the solutions is negative 2. Now, the other side of that is it says instead of having the first parentheses be equal to 0, then you can do the second parentheses. So if I take my second parentheses and set that equal to 0, that will also make this equation true. So let's go ahead and do that. So I have 2x, and I'll do it over here. I have 2x minus 3 is equal to 0. So what do? We add 3 to both sides. So you're going to get 2x is equal to 3. Then what do? Divide by 2 on both sides. So I'm going to get x is equal to 3 over 2. So my other solution is 3 over 2, which is saying if I have x is 3 over 2, so 2 times 3 over 2 is 3, minus 3 is 0. So if this is 0, 0 times anything this is going to give me 0. So that's the difference between factored and solution. Okay, so factored, think factored form, factoring. 2 parentheses. Solution, think when I set this equal to 0. So solution, think x-intercept, roots, zeros when I set it equal to 0, or solutions. And when you think factoring, just think factored form, factored form, which just means I need 2 parentheses. This, I need your actual x-intercepts, your roots, your zeros, your solution. So it's just really important for you to know what the difference is so that you can answer the question that is being actually asked. All right, this only works if the answers are rational. And remind me, what is rational? There are 3 things. So let's do this quick review from Unit 1. It can be written as a fraction of integers. Written, that is not how you spell written. Written, I think it's double. You guys know I can't spell. Written as a fraction of integers. Okay. Number 2, repeating decimal, or number 3, terminate in decimal. And what that means is that it ends decimal. So as long as it's rational, this is the method that we're going to use. So again, I've written it here again for you. Solutions is x-intercepts, zeros, roots, or solutions. 4 different ways of saying the exact same thing. That's when you're solving. And factored is when you have 2 parentheses. Okay. All right. So a couple of things. If it's a decimal, make it a fraction, and the denominator goes in front of the x. And I'm going to show you what that means in just a second. All right. By inspection, that means if you're given a graph, can you tell me what factored form is? And can you tell me the solutions, the roots, the x-intercepts, the zeros? Okay, so let's do it. All right, so solve is where it crosses the x-axis, because 3 words for that. Okay, so, oops, draw an arrow going this way. 4 words for that. X-intercept, zeros, solutions, or roots. That's what solve means. All right, so that's what solve means. And then factor is the opposite sign of solve in the parentheses. So basically, how do you go from your x-intercept to factored form? Remember, from our previous video, you just take the opposite of the inside, right? And that now you're going to go backwards. So you're not going to put it inside the parentheses as an opposite. All right, so let's go ahead and do it. Factored. So example 1. So we're going to have to start with, what is our x-intercept? Well, how many x-intercepts do you have here? 1. So this has how many solutions? 1. All right, so what is my solution? x is equal to -4. That's my x-intercept, or my solution, or my 0, or my root. X is equal to -4. Factored form means I need to have two parentheses, right? That's kind of interesting because I only have one solution, one x-intercept, and I'm going to show you how to write that. And remember, if I'm putting it back into the parentheses, it's got to be opposite. So this is -4, so it's going to go back into the parentheses as what? +4. Now, I do have to, for it to be quadratic, it has to be x squared, meaning you have to have two x's. So what I can do is, because I'm saying it only has one solution, nothing stops me from saying it has to be the same. Because if it's the same, I still have x times x, which is x squared, and I only have my solution, which is -4. If we look at this one, or this one, -4. It's just there. Okay. Now, another way of writing this could be x plus 4. How many times do you see it? Twice, to the exponent of 2. So one solution will look like this. It's basically the same thing twice. All right, let's take a look at example 2. All right, how many solutions do we have in example 2? As a matter of fact, I'm going to let you do that one. I'm going to do example 3. Okay, so I'll start you off with this. How many solutions, how many x-intercepts, zeros, solutions, or roots do you have in example 2? Go ahead and write that in that blank right there. Solve it, which means tell me what is the x-intercept, the zeros, the solutions, or the roots. And since you said it has 2, I want you to have 2. And then give me the factored form of what that looks like. So again, two parentheses with an x and an x, and then you should be able to go from the solution into factored form. All right, I'm going to do number 3. All right, so number 3, how many solutions do I have? I have 2, because it crosses the x-intercept twice, here and here. So I have 2 solutions. It's put in the calculator for me, and it's told me that it crosses at negative. So one of my solution is -3/4. And my other one of my solutions is, I think that's +1/2. So I've put it in the calculator and I've seen this is where it crosses. These are my 2 solutions. How do I then make this into factored form? Well, remember, factored form needs 2 parentheses, right? So I'm going to have 2 parentheses already written down. Now, if it is a decimal, make it a fraction. So it's been made a fraction. And the denominator goes in front of the x. So let me show you what that visually looks like. The denominator is the bottom. We're going to put that in front of the x. The denominator is the bottom. We're going to put that in front of the x. So my first factored form is put in 4x. My second factored form is put in 2x. So I have 2x on the second one. All right. After that, it's just as normal. So remember, once you write out what it is, you're putting the opposite of that with the x. So what is left? So this is no longer there. So now I have -3. So I need to put the opposite of that, which is what? +3. And then on the second one, what do I have left? +1. So the opposite of that would be -1. Okay, so we are now going backwards from the solution into factored form. And we can go from factored form into the solution as well by setting it equal to 0 and solving it, or just by looking at it. Again, thinking opposite, so this -3, and then bringing this back down to the denominator over 4. This is opposite, so +1, bringing this back down, which is +1/2. So you could go in either direction, it doesn't matter. Let's practice.